I hope that you'll forgive me if I'm a little angry that we are indifferent to his erratic behavior, his obvious mental decline, his history as a convicted felon.
Did you have any advice for Mrs. Trump?
You know, I didn't. We talked about the kids, but, you know, my offer to Melania was, you know, you really don't know what you don't know until you're here.
Barack and I were raised with so many of the same values. Like, you work hard for what you want in life. That your word is your bond, that you do what you say you're gonna do.
Michelle Obama called out Donald Trump for what she says are his failings, especially his impact on women's rights. But instead of addressing the issues, he dismisses the speech entirely. What does his reaction tell us about his priorities? The answer might surprise you. Before we move on, I will like you to subscribe to the channel and like the video. Michelle Obama didn't even have to say Donald Trump's name for him to feel the sting of her words. Her speech was like threading a needle. Calm, deliberate, and perfectly precise. With a steady voice, she laid out the stakes, calling Trump a convicted felon and a threat to democracy. These words weren't shouted or delivered with theatrics, but rather measured in a way that struck deeper than any loud criticism could. It was like watching a master chef slice through a block of butter, effortless, refined, and leaving no room for error. In her speech, Michelle doubled down on her core values, focusing on themes like women's rights, empathy, and unity. She warned about the dangers of complacency and how Trump's actions, and by extension his leadership, could harm women across the country. Her words were a powerful reminder to voters about what truly matters. Instead of attacking individuals, she remained squarely focused on principles, giving the entire message an air of moral clarity. And that resonated. She said, "Please do not hand our fates over to the likes of Trump, who knows nothing about us, who has shown deep contempt for us." It wasn't just a critique of Trump, it was a plea for people to prioritize decency and protect their futures. What does Trump do with all this?
A known slumlord, a predator found liable for sexual abuse, all of this, while we pick apart Kamala's answers from interviews that he doesn't even have the courage to do, y'all. I hope you'll forgive me if I'm a little frustrated that some of us are choosing to ignore Donald Trump's gross incompetence while asking Kamala to dazzle us at every turn. Because a vote for him is a vote against us, against our health, against our worth.
Well, instead of tackling her points head on, he dismissed the entire speech as pre-taped and unfair. And let's just pause there for a second. The man is caught in 4K talking about how a video wasn't live. Like that somehow invalidates the content of what Michelle was saying. You can almost picture him in a room full of advisors shouting, "How dare she record something in advance?" It's as if someone told him the delivery of the speech insulted his honor more than the actual words. Watching the whole thing felt like tuning in to two completely different sports. Michelle's speech was a precision strike, clear, focused, and carefully aimed. Meanwhile, Trump's response was like watching someone flail wildly in a boxing ring, swinging at invisible punches and blaming the referee for his misses. It was chaotic, defensive, and frankly, absurd. And the public noticed. Her approach, rooted in unity and respect, rang true to so many people, while his reaction came across as insecure and lacking any real argument.
It was a lovely frame. There's all this protocol, so they tell you that you're gonna do this, they're gonna stand here, and never before do you get this gift, so I'm sort of like, okay.
My parents impressed on me the values that you work hard for what you want in life, that your word is your bond, and you do what you say and keep your promise.
Please do not hand our fates over to the likes of Trump, who knows nothing about us, who has shown deep contempt for us.
When Michelle speaks about unity and respect, it's not just words. She embodies those values. This ability to stay composed even while delivering tough truths is why her message lands so effectively. Meanwhile, Trump's defensive responses only reinforce the criticisms being made about him. The more he tries to fight it, the more obvious it becomes that her words hit exactly where they were supposed to. Every petty comment or dismissive remark he throws out proves her point about his lack of fitness as a leader. And let's not forget, this isn't the first time the Obamas have outmaneuvered the Trumps. It's a pattern by now. Michelle delivers calm, value-driven messages that resonate on a meaningful level, while Trump scrambles to react, often missing the mark entirely. He plays checkers, she plays chess. And speaking of chess, it seems like even Melania has been caught in Michelle's shadow before. Remember her infamous 2016 speech? Yeah, Michelle might just have more influence on the Trumps than they'd like to admit. Did Melania borrow more than just Michelle's words back in 2016? That was the question everyone was asking after the Republican National Convention turned into an unintentional homage to Michelle Obama. You probably remember the controversy. Melania stood on that stage with all the fanfare of a future first lady, delivered her speech, and then bam! CNN rolls out a side-by-side comparison of her words with Michelle's 2008 Democratic National Convention speech, and suddenly Melania's message wasn't looking so original anymore. It didn't take a linguist to spot the similarities. Lines about values, hard work, and hope for children, it was almost copy-paste. Your word is your bond, straight from Michelle, because we want our kids to know that the only limits to their achievements are the strength of their dreams. Also, Michelle. The Trump campaign immediately found themselves in a mess, as people questioned not only Melania's originality, but also the entire campaign's integrity. How does this even happen? Who greenlit that speech? Was no one Googling? The jokes practically wrote themselves. But let's talk about the reactions, because wow, they say so much about everyone involved. Trump, unsurprisingly, went full blame deflect mode. At first, his team tried to downplay it, calling the similarities a coincidence, or even a form of flattery toward Michelle. But when that didn't stick, Trump himself got defensive and angry. That magic combo. His take, he said, Michelle Obama gives a speech and everyone loves it. It's fantastic. They think she's absolutely great. My wife Melania gives the exact same speech, and people get on her case, and I don't get it. If you're sitting there thinking, wait, did he just admit she copied it? Then yes, you heard him right. Leave it to Trump to accidentally confirm the criticism while trying to deny it. On the other hand, Michelle's response couldn't have been more different and more strategic. Instead of dragging anyone or even addressing the fiasco directly, she went with grace and a touch of magnanimity. I have some sympathy for her, Michelle said in one interview, and just like that, she turned the controversy into a mirror reflecting her poise and perspective. She didn't need to escalate anything because, let's face it, the side-by-side footage had already done all the talking. By staying above the drama, she only made herself look more composed, and by contrast, cast an even harsher light on how the Trump side handled things. Think about it. As Michelle speaks out about respect and protecting women's futures, Melania is faced with the impossible task of aligning those ideals with Trump's actions. Actions that Michelle is openly criticizing. It's a tough spot to be in. Even if Melania remains silent, Michelle's words inherently contrast Trump's behavior, leaving Melania orbiting a planet of values she can't fully embrace because they clash with her husband's legacy. And if she tries to distance herself, well, good luck explaining that conversation at Mar-a-Lago. In the end, this pattern isn't new. Michelle leads with authenticity and values, while the Trumps struggle to keep up. Whether it's Melania's echoed speeches or Trump's defensive tantrums, the same truth remains. The Obama brand of leadership, steady, thoughtful, and rooted in principles, stands in stark contrast to the Trump family's chaos and inconsistency. Michelle exposes this without even trying. Every word she speaks about decency and unity pulls back the curtain on the lack of it in Trump's orbit. It leaves Melania, intentionally or not, fumbling to keep up appearances in a role Michelle seems to have defined, excelled in, and, let's be honest, perfected. The real takeaway here is how all of this shapes our view of leadership. Michelle's focus on values not only sharpens her critiques, but also sets a bar that the Trumps often miss by miles. The 2016 speech fiasco is just an example of how far they're willing to reach, and how often they stumble when they do. But what does that really mean for how we think about leadership today? Let's break it down. Michelle Obama's calm and deliberate speech didn't just criticize Trump, it held up a mirror to his chaotic style of leadership. While she focused on values like empathy and protecting women's rights, Trump responded with distractions and personal jabs, proving her point for her. It's not just about policy, it's about character, and her authenticity made his defensiveness look even worse. Her message wasn't flashy, it was steady, thoughtful, and deeply resonant. So as voters, we need to ask ourselves, what kind of leadership do we want shaping our future? Because in the end, thoughtful authenticity will always outclass desperate deflection.